Shalom, shalom, and welcome. Welcome, O set apart nation, awakening, O children of the Almighty Father Yahuah. In the name of Yahusha, I come to you. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present before a set apart nation that is awakening, consisting of both Hebrews and Gentiles who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father, together made one by Yahushua Mashiach. There's much to learn and discern regarding the oneness in Mashiach Yahusha. This is end-time unity protocols, checks and balances. And all in all, when we have checks and balances, it will indeed produce an impact, resulting in outcomes that will benefit the body of Yasharal like never imagined. Keep in mind, O Yasharal, these are end times. Soon and very soon we will begin to see a rise of those who will fulfill the 144,000 Hebrews, or Arboreem, set apart, chosen by the Almighty Father Yahuah, along with a great multitude mentioned in Revelation 7 chapter. Many people fail to realize that you can have millions of people and it still represent a remnant. It's what you compare that number to. And so if you compare 10, let's just say 10 million to 7.2 billion on the planet, that's a remnant. There's much work to be done, my brothers and sisters. Do not underestimate the power of the Almighty Father, for he indeed will draw all men to Yahushua Mashiach. And Yahusha says, if he be lifted up, he will draw all men to himself. This is written in the scriptures, my brothers and sisters. And I say to you, we lift him up by our obedience and worship to the Almighty Father. In this specific installment, this is the 28th installment, I want to bring your attention to the need to beware of fruit thieves. Yes, fruit thieves are among us. We will discover as we press into end times that there will be multiple encounters with robbers of orchards, so to speak. Yes, fruit thieves. Come and allow me to present the following as we pray on the matter regarding why it is important to seek to avoid fruit thieves. I will begin by shedding some light on what I mean by fruit thieves. Fruit thieves often demonstrate actions where they label themselves wise and discerning. Fruit thieves will look for scriptures in or wise displays of set apartness that others have, and they will try to copy and mimic to seem and appear to be strong spiritually, to appear mature. Fruit thieves take from others without regards. They are like ravenous wolves seeking to devour and misuse the fruit of Yahuah. Consider the age-old behavior of thieves. In most instances, they desire to take from others things they do not possess, things of value. These are clearly among us. Look around how there are individuals claiming to be wise, claiming to be able to discern, claiming that Abba Yahuah's spirit is speaking to him, or the Ruach HaKadosh, which is the spirit of Yahuah, told them to do something when he did not. In one way we'll know if he did not, if their words contradict. Case in point, I heard a person teaching that calls himself a Moreh say that there's no such thing as a personal relationship with Yahusha, that's a Christian thing. But yet this person talks about how the Ruach works in him and speaks in him, and he's a Moreh and want to teach. So how did he come to be a Moreh? How did he come to experience the Ruach working in him if that is not a personal relationship? Fruit thieves, my brothers and sisters, those who start talking about Yahuah told them, the Ruach led them, they're clearly mistaken. You see, when someone starts saying things that contradict the scriptures, this is when you know Yahuah, the Almighty Father, did not speak to them. Yes, my brothers and sisters, they may have encountered times when the Most High have. You see, my brothers and sisters, even we who seek to grow and mature and set apart, we stumble, we fall. But what is important is that we know once it is identified, once the correction is identified, that we seek forgiveness, that we yield to reproof, that we utilize the power of the blood of the Lamb and what it means to be renewed by the Spirit of Yahuah day by day. But if they bring lame excuses, you know what I mean? You're making a big deal out of anything. My brothers and sisters, that's a fruit thief. That's a person who's acting whose actions reflect the fruit thief. Yes, and it could happen among brothers and sisters. There are even thieves laying hold to specific titles such as prophet, seer, watchman, moray, when clearly they are far from discerning the living presence of the Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name. There are those who may be called or chosen who will misstep. The ones who are called and chosen who misstep will not try to justify when they are wrong, will not try to present excuses when they're wrong, will not try to dismiss when a brother or sister is being used by the Spirit of Yahuah to correct another. You see, we each are temple or a vessel of the Almighty Father Spirit. He dwells within us, as the scripture says, and he cleans the house that he dwells in. So we will go through refining and discipline. That's like cleaning the house. Yahuah, the Almighty Father Spirit, will not be in a house that's dirty and trashy. He'll clean it. And therefore, the fruit of anything that is fighting against him will show. Beware, O Yasharal. Beware, O set-apart nation. Now let me read about an incident that reflects the first fruit thieves. Genesis chapter 2, verse 16 and 17 says, And Yahuah, the Almighty One, commanded man, saying, Eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, for in that day you eat of it, you shall certainly die. Now, I don't have to read the rest of what happened. You know what happened. They were fruit thieves. Took the fruit that they weren't supposed to mess with. They weren't designed for them to mess with. First instance of a fruit thief or fruit thieves. Psalms chapter 1, verse 1 through 6 reads as follows, my brothers and sisters. Blessed is the man who shall not walk in the counsel of the wrong, and shall not, and shall not stand in the path of sinners, and shall not sit in the seat of scoffers. But his delight is in the Torah of Yahuah, and he meditates in his Torah day and night. For he shall be as a tree planted by the rivers of water, that yields its fruit in its season, and whose leaf does not wither, and whatever he does prosper. Notice it says it will yield fruit in its season. There are people saying, I'm looking for the fruit. I'm looking for the fruit. Is it the season for that person to produce fruit? Are we pushing people out there? Are we fabricating fruit when the person is going through maturity, growing and learning? Are we labeling, are we picking of the fruit before it is ripe and ready? Yes, some will take the scripture and say the harvest is ripe now and try to run on that. But I say, my brothers and sisters, there are many instructions that speak of leaning on the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah, letting him direct our path, so that we indeed will understand what we must and will do in the coming days. My brothers and sisters, let me move on to read Proverbs 129. Proverbs 129 through 33, my brothers and sisters. Fruit thieves are real. 129 of Proverbs to 33 says, Because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahuah, they did not accept my counsel, they despised all my reproof. Therefore let them eat the fruit of their own way and be filled with their own counsels. For the turning away of the simple kills them, and the complacency of food destroys them. But whoever listens to me dwells safely and is at ease from the dread of evil. That was Proverbs 1:29 through 33. Proverbs 8:18 and 8:19. Let me read that as well, my brothers and sisters. Riches and esteem are with me, enduring wealth and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold and fine gold, and my increase than choice silver. I say to you, O Yasharal, this is what motivates a fruit thief. When they see that we are in possession of fruit that is better than gold, fine gold, and they don't have it, so they want it, they envy it, they snatch it, oftentimes not knowing what to do with it. Pray, O Yasharal, The discipline of the Most High will indeed reveal much. Matthew 7:16 through 7:20 reads, "By their fruits you shall know them. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles?" You see, my brothers and sisters, if a person is not walking in set apartness, if a person is not yielding to the voice of the Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name, if a person is not reflecting the ways of set apartness, they may be as thorn bushes, thistles. You see, and what happens if it's not a good fruit? Let's continue. Matthew 7:16 through 20. "But their fruit you shall know, by their fruit you shall know them. Are grapes gathered from thorn bushes, or figs from thistles? So every good tree yields good fruit, but a rotten tree yields wicked fruit. And a good tree is unable to yield wicked fruit, and a rotten tree to yield good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down and thrown into fire. So then, by their fruits you shall know them." My brothers and sisters, trust me, as the Spirit of Yahushua has given me to say these words. Trust me only if you believe they are indeed in line with the Spirit of Yahushua, the ways of set apartness. And that is this: a person who does not have good fruit will seek to steal and kill and destroy and abuse. Ask questions, my brothers and sisters, and you will discover in the process of asking questions, we will be able to discern whether that's a fruit thief or a brother or a sister that have been indwelled by the Spirit of Yahuah in Yahusha's name, speaking the things that are set apart, that sets us on fire for the Almighty Father. Galatians 5:22 and 23 reads, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, trustworthiness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no Torah." In other words, that's another way of saying there are no instructions that matter if we cannot reflect the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit of Yahuah indwelling within us, working in us one towards another. Philippians 1:9 through 11 reads this, my brothers and sisters, "And this I pray, that your love might extend more and more in knowledge and all discernment. For you to examine the matters that differ, in order to be sincere and not stumbling until the day of Messiah, being filled with the fruit of righteousness through Yahushua Messiah, to the esteem and praise of the Almighty One." Make no mistake, my brothers and sisters, the fruit of Yahuah will prove to be in the hands of those who are indeed used to produce such. And some will produce it as first fruits, and some will wait until the harvest. And some will get it, and some will not until later on. But trust, my brothers and sisters, trust these words. It is necessary for us to identify. It is necessary for us to warn a brother if indeed one is a fruit thief or bearer of rotten fruit. Yasharal, who is aware of the life in Hebrews 12:11? It says, "And indeed, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but grievous. But afterwards, it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it." Keep that in mind, my brothers and sisters. Discipline comes, and it may not look pleasant. It may not look pretty. But if we yield as a result of repentance, if we receive the correction from the Most High, as we identify those who are obedient to the Spirit of Yahuah that brings correction and reproof to us when we stumble, then we might find ourselves as a prune tree, where the branches that are not producing are pruned, are cut off, and through the blood of the Lamb we rise up. Pray, O Yasharal, that you're able to identify why this is important during these end times. Identifying set-apart fruit will be a major part in the coming together of Yasharal. Gathering of set-apart fruit is important as we find ourselves being drawn from the four corners of the earth. I'm compelled to believe there will be those who will not be in the ranks of those gathered before the physical return of Yahushua Mashiach. These may witness drawing to one another to such time as their physical death. You see, my brothers and sisters, in other words, what I'm saying is the set apart will be gathered from the four corners of the earth to an area that the Most High has promised, to a region where he's promised. And I believe it would be the central point will be the true Mount Sinai, which is currently known as Jabal al-Lawz. My brothers and sisters, but what people don't realize, even the wicked will be gathered from the four corners of the earth. They will gather from the four corners of the earth. If you doubt this, what do you think is occurring when he talks about, and the nations gathered in the valley of Megiddo, or some will call it the battle of Armageddon. The scriptures don't say that that's where the fight took place. It just say they gathered in Megiddo. And these nations will gather and then march against the set apart ones of the Almighty Father that are physically alive. Pray and watch, my brothers and sisters. These end times are real, and there is much work to do. My brothers and sisters, one way to identify fruit thieves is to ask them questions regarding any teachings or saying they present. Ask him or her, where did they get their understanding? Ask them more about whatever they are teaching or passing on. And don't just settle for the Ruach. That just means the Spirit. Or the Ruach HaKodesh. That means the set-apart Spirit. But how did they know? Don't just settle that they say the Spirit of Yahuah. Or the Spirit of Yahusha gave me the answer. Or gave me understanding. I discerned it. That's not enough, my brothers and sisters. Ask questions. Examine all things, for the scriptures require us to. And you'll find that if you ask questions, then you will begin to witness whether the Spirit of Yahusha is indeed guiding that person, or whether that person is exhibiting the behavior of a fruit thief. Consider this, my brothers and sisters. If a person is hungry and only had rotten fruit, do you not think that they would make an attempt to take your fruit, or actually try to steal the words, the actions, your behavior, try to mimic what you're doing, that make people say you have the atmosphere of good fruit? The time is now, my brothers and sisters, to witness the Spirit of Yahuah in Yahusha's name, uncover and reveal those who are perpetrators, unlearned, undiscerning, and or just plain rebellious individuals, or possibly just ravenous wolves. The Spirit of Yahusha will indeed open our eyes. We will be able to see, and not only see, hear. Once a fruit thief and or fruit thieves are identified, seek to restore them. If they resist the reproof that comes from those who are led by the Spirit of Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name, pray for them, but know when to purge them from among your ranks. Know when to come away, my brothers and sisters. If it's a camp, fellowship, assembly, group, etc., that follow a leader who represent a fruit thief, or leaders who are fruit thieves, then it might just be time to come away. Do not waste your finances, your time, your energy on such. There are some, my brothers and sisters, that it will be times we'll come away from them, or we'll purge them, and as the Spirit of Yahuah works and discipline them, they'll be restored back into the fold. And there'll be those who will perish in their stubbornness, trying to preserve and protect their egos. Allow me to interject the following, my brothers and sisters. There appears to be a group of brothers and sisters who are promoting the need to get into communities. I think the Spirit of Yahuah is stirring within each of us to begin thinking about communal living, to think about coming together in communities. But make no mistake, my brothers and sisters, it is important to vet thoroughly. It is important to ask questions regarding food, sustainability, capacity. What are the rules governing such? What is the full plan? What is the vision? Is it written down? Are they saying the same thing today as they said yesterday? And will they say the same thing tomorrow? We have the ability in Yahusha's name to vet and discern whether a person is indeed a part of a community that is indeed lifting up Yahushua Mashiach, or either just lifting up an individual or just the elders. Are they calling people masters and lords, and yet those individuals do not exhibit how Yahusha works with us, how our master Yahusha works with us? Pray and watch, my brothers and sisters. Exposure will come. Discipline will come. End times are here, and it is time to move beyond rhetoric, the art of language usage, and begin to examine and discern set apart fruit from the Almighty Father Yahuah sent in Yahusha's name. The time is now to begin to know how to appreciate and discern what is expected among those who truly possess set apart fruit, and or who are going to learn how to produce set apart fruit in its season, as the scriptures read. The time is now to exhibit the strength and fortitude, my brothers and sisters, to come away from compromising teachings. Pray and watch. Extreme humbling times will produce real set-apart fruit, first fruits, and a harvest that man has never witnessed before on the face of this earth. I believe I have said enough regarding becoming alert and mindful of fruit thieves. So I say to you, O Yasharal, be encouraged, my brothers and sisters. Yes, there's much work to be done. The presence of the Almighty Father Yahuah in Yahusha's name will be magnified like never before imagined. Our redemption draws near. We will witness the need to begin to move. All who are physically alive will face this movement. The wicked going with their end point, the valley of Megiddo, before they march against the children of Yahuah. The children of Yahuah will be in the region of Mount Sinai, true Mount Sinai, currently called Jabal al-Lawz, within the region, which within the borders of the land that is promised to his children. Yes, my brothers and sisters, there will be a final exodus before the physical return of Yahuah. Soon we will recognize chosen leaders, chosen mores, chosen counselors, chosen child educators, chosen guards, chosen cooks, chosen caregivers of the seniors, chosen individuals who have the discipline to know what it takes to nurture the coming together of a set apart family, and so many different gifts that line up with set apartness to build a tight fit set apart awakening nation. This requires discipline, my brothers and sisters. It requires knowing when to deal with fruit thieves. Choose wisely, my brothers and sisters. Consider these words. Consider that they have reached your ears for a reason. So I ask you the question, what say you, O listen to these words? Will you seek to discern, restore, or reject what is necessary? Will you warn others if you identify fruit thieves? Remember these words. Each of us have responsibilities, and with these responsibilities, we will be held accountable. Until next time, O Yasharal, set apart nation that is awakening. Until next time, my brother, my sister, I invite your communications, your questions, your comments, if and only if you believe you are being led to do so. I invite you to continue to witness the messages that I present as I believe I am directed. More than anything, my brother and sister, I invite you to be encouraged and press forward and seek to discern what the Spirit of the Almighty Father Yahuah has for you, has for us collectively, has for his children. Until next time, living set apart family, I bid you Shalum.